What's going on, boys and girls? I hope you're all well. This is my match preview video for our Carabao Cup semi-final first leg match away to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Before I dive into that, I am going to have a little bit of a look at the weekend's FA Cup fixture against Portsmouth. I didn't do a video for that one. It was my wife's birthday, sorry. But I think it does have some relevance and some context in relation to this game against Chelsea. Look, a very good 4-1 win. I've only watched the bite-sized highlights of it, so I'm not going to go into the details of the match and who played well and who didn't. Very happy for Martinelli to get that hat-trick. I felt really sorry for him in recent days following the incident in the Liverpool match. I think the media in particular, mainstream media in particular, and then obviously kind of the social media world follows, they really went in on Martinelli in an unfair way, and I think they didn't apply any sort of real kind of context. And I think the person who actually summed that incident up with the most level of common sense and maturity was actually Arne Slot. Like, if you actually listen to what Arne Slot says, that is completely where I'm at with it, which is in that moment, you can understand it. And at the end of the day, if Martinelli knew that Bradley was injured, he would never have done what he did. So I was really happy for Martinelli to have that moment against Portsmouth. Very well deserved. I think it was great that we were able to rest some really key players. So I believe Saliba, Trossard, Saka, Rice and Gyökeres didn't play a single minute, which is ideal. That's what you want when there's games coming thick and fast. And obviously we were able to give minutes to the likes of Eze, Nwaneri, who have barely played any football in recent weeks. Ben White started, Christian Norgard started, which was great. Obviously not in his preferred position, but in that central defence partnership with Gabriel. Miles Lewis-Skelly got another run out due to the fact we've got Calafiori and Nketiah both out at the moment. And obviously Madueke got a start as well. So, I think there was some really big positives from that in terms of being able to rest players, but also to give players minutes who need them. And that kind of leads me into the game against Chelsea. I think at first I thought Arteta was going to maybe be a bit cute with this game in terms of maybe looking to make a few rotations. But if I look at the starting 11 he picked for the Portsmouth game, it makes me think that he's going to go all in this first leg. And I think the mindset might be to go all in on this first leg so that maybe you can rotate a little bit for the second leg, or maybe win it in the first leg so that the second leg becomes less of a pressurized match. Or maybe it's play my strongest starting 11, put ourselves hopefully in a position where in the second half we can make some changes. But we've got Forest away on the weekend. So we play Chelsea Wednesday night, and then Saturday evening we play Nottingham Forest away, which will be a really tricky game. No matter where Forest are in the league right now, and I know they're not having a great season, I think away to Forest in a nighttime fixture under the lights is always going to be a tricky match. And Forest are one of those teams where they can kind of bring anything on the day. They've got plenty of players that can damage you and hurt you, and I have no doubt that they will be up for this one. At the end of the day, they are in a bit of a relegation battle, so they will be highly charged for every single Premier League match from now to the end of the season. So that will be a difficult match. And that is why I thought maybe we should look to rotate the team slightly with that game in mind. But I just think the amount of rotation and the fact that he didn't give any minutes to some of those key players I mentioned earlier on makes me think that he is going to go full strength for the Chelsea match. And look, I think as us Arsenal fans, we all can agree that the primary objective of this season is to get silverware. Obviously, the expectation is the Premier League. That's the kind of holy grail. That is the number one focus. From there, obviously, you've got the grandeur of the Champions League and the hope that maybe we could do both, or at least one of the two. But I think at the end of the day, for me, a trophy is a must. These players and the group of players that we have and the way we've performed over the last 2-3 seasons, we have to start delivering some trophies. And in my mind, this Carabao Cup represents a really, really strong opportunity for us to claim a piece of silverware. Now, Chelsea is not going to be easy, and the final, whether it's Newcastle or City, will not be easy. But I think we are in a position now where we can make a final of a cup and put ourselves in a position where we're 90 minutes away from winning it. So I think we should go all in on this one. I really do. I think at the end of the day, after the Nottingham Forest match, we play Inter in the Champions League. We have completely secured our position in the Champions League. So that, in my opinion, is an opportunity to rest players. So I would be looking at these next two games going, right, we play our strongest 11s and we go all out to try and win these next two matches. And then we can maybe rotate and rest a little against Inter. It's also worth noting that Man City play Manchester United away on the weekend before we go to Forest. Look, on paper, City should blitz Man United, but I think that is definitely a game that could cause a surprise. Manchester United will probably have Michael Carrick in place by then. I'm sure there'll be a bit of new manager bounce and energy. And City, let's face it, they in the last few results in the Premier League have not done the business. So, there could be a shock and a surprise there. So what Arsenal definitely can't afford to do off the back of that missed opportunity against Liverpool is to stumble again and allow Manchester City to all of a sudden be in a position where they are 3 points behind us. So a lot of people have been debating which game is more important. Chelsea in the Carabao Cup semi-final or Forest away in the Premier League. I think they are equally important. If you're putting the gun to my head and saying which game is more important, I think just on the premise that I'm so desperate for the Premier League, I would have to say the Forest game. But I think on the premise that we were able to rest against Portsmouth, we should have enough energy in the tank for our players to go through these next two games. So in terms of my starting 11 for the game against Chelsea, I think what Arteta is going to go with is Kepa in goal. I think he's going to go Timber on the right. I think he doesn't really have a choice at left back, so it'll be Miles Lewis-Skelly. And then I think on the premise that he rested Saliba, and again, we don't have really any other options right now with Calafiori, Nketiah and Mosquera all out, I think it'll be our typical centre-back partnership of Saliba and Gabriel. I think he'll play Zubimendi in the 6. Zubimendi only played 7 or 8 minutes against Portsmouth. Rice didn't touch the grass, so I think he will come back in. And I think Odegaard will play in the 10. From what I understand, Eze didn't really do anything particular in that game against Portsmouth to suggest that he warrants getting his place back in this starting 11. So I think Eze will go back to the bench. It sounds like Madueke had quite a good game. He obviously missed the penalty, which is that sums up Madueke at the moment in terms of that final end product not being there. But again, I think on the premise that Saka didn't play a single minute, I think Saka will start. The same goes for Trossard on the left. It's unfair for Martinelli to score a hat-trick and then be demoted to the bench. But I think in a game like this, whereby you probably want your skillful players, your players who can control the ball, create something out of nothing, calm play down, hold on to the ball. I think Trossard is better suited to this, and I think Martinelli has a role, with the last 20-25 minutes when the game is maybe coming a little bit more stretched and the Chelsea defence is tiring. So I think he'll bring Trossard back into the left. And then up front, it's really a flip of a coin. I don't think he'll go with Havertz. I don't think Havertz is anywhere near ready to start. It sounds like he had a positive cameo coming on against Portsmouth, which is encouraging. But I think at the moment this is a shootout between Gyökeres and Jesus. Obviously, Jesus got that wonder goal against Aston Villa, but I think since then he's just played a role. I don't think either player necessarily deserves the position. But I think on the premise that Jesus is still working his way back to full match fitness after 2 really horrific injuries, I don't think he will start him in this match. I think he will start Gyökeres. And this could be Gyökeres' last real chance to say, no, I am your guy. I know Havertz is coming back. I know Jesus is chomping at the bit, but this is my chance to remind you why I'm the number 9 you signed in the summer. And I've got to say, and a lot of people have said this as well, I think if Gyökeres was to put in another poor performance in this match against Chelsea, it could be the last time he gets that starting spot for a while. I think Jesus could easily start against Forest, and then I think if you're looking at an opportunity to give Havertz a chance to kind of start the away match to Inter in the Champions League, could be a nice kind of way to ease him in. And then who knows, if one of them kind of grabs their opportunity, Gyökeres could find himself down the pecking order. So I think he'll go with Gyökeres in the 9. So that's my position. And really at the moment, that's about as full strength as we can go, bar Raya in goal and Calafiori on the left. In terms of particular players that I'm keeping an eye out for, I'd love us to put in a really good old school away day defensive performance. I'd love to just give Chelsea nothing from a point of goal opportunities. So I'm really hoping that the defence can be really solid. I am worried about Miles Lewis-Skelly. I think this season has proved that he is not a left back. He did incredibly well last season, and I know this season's been challenging in the fact that he's been in and out of the team and not played a lot of minutes, and it can be hard to kind of find your feet when you're kind of dropped in here and there. But I think the last few performances at left back, he's really been found wanting, and I think at the end of the day, the long-term plan for Lewis-Skelly needs to be shifting him into the central part of the midfield. So Miles Lewis-Skelly will need some helping out in this game from both Trossard and Gabriel. And then up front, someone has to step up. Whether it's Saka, Trossard, Gyökeres, Odegaard, one of these attacking players needs to grab this game by the scruff of the neck and deliver something, because we've been missing that now for a while, and at some point it just has to click. It just has to click. Chelsea will be incredibly fired up for this game. This is their new manager's first home game. It's a big match against a London rival in a semi-final of what is probably, a realistic opportunity to get silverware for Chelsea this season. They're nowhere near the Premier League title race. Okay, they're still in the Champions League, but I'm not sure if that's an option. And so really it comes down to the FA Cup and the League Cup. So they will be going full strength, I have no doubt. I believe Caicedo is missing this one through suspension. Cucurella is back despite getting that red card against Fulham. So they will go as full strength as they can, and I think it will be a really tricky match. I don't think this will be easy by any stretch. One part of me thinks, could this just be a back and forth basketball match? But I don't think Arsenal allow for that sort of match. So I'm going to go with a 2-1 Arsenal win. I think Chelsea will look to take advantage of the Miles Lewis-Skelly situation, and I think they will probably find a way to get a goal in this game. But I'm going to go with Arsenal to have enough in this one. Obviously, if Arteta completely rotates the side, then that could have a big bearing on the outcome of the match. But if I'm sticking with that team that I think we're going to go with, I'm going to back us to get a 2-1 win at Stamford Bridge and take a lead into the second leg, which at home you'd like to think we could kind of see the job out. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Star man, Saka. Saka owes us. I know that's ridiculous to say because in the last few years, Saka's been the one to carry this team. But I think if you look at the season on the whole and you look at the last few games in particular, I think we're due a Saka worldie or a real top level Saka performance that just kind of is the reason for why we win the game. So I'm going to go Saka star man and 2-1 to the Arsenal. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to know starting 11, score, star man, danger men for Chelsea. Do we rotate? What's more important, Premier League, Carabao Cup? And don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one.